Good morning, ladies. I pray everybody's Tuesday morning has greeted them well. I pray you woke up with peace of mind, no fear, no worry, with the ability and the vigor to trust God for another day. We thank God for today's bread and for today's portion. How many of you are aware of a portion of the disciples' prayer? People call it the Lord's Prayer, but it's actually the disciples' prayer. The portion of the disciples' prayer that says, "Give us this day our daily bread." One of my personal mantras is to thank God for my portion every day. And when I say that, it's because of the allowances that the Lord has given me for that day. So we thank God for today's portion. I pray that you eat from it and be full. So today's devotional comes from Mark 5:19. The scripture says, "Go. Tell them how much the Lord has done for you." This particular passage of scripture is dealing with the man who was out of his mind hanging around the tombs, and Jesus cast the spirits out of him and they went into the pigs. And Jesus admonished this man. If you read this passage of scripture, it says that after having encountered Jesus, he was now clothed and in his right mind. Clothed and in his right mind, or with his right mind. And what that tells us is that prior to that encounter, the demonic bondage that that man was under totally controlled his life. Complete and total oppression. If any of you ladies have ever felt like your life was out of control and you could not get a grip on it, although you desired it, that is telling you that there is some measure of oppression going on in your life. But as this particular scripture reveals, after having a very personal and intricate encounter with Christ, you can experience him in a way that not only will he make you free, but he encourages you to go and tell others about that freedom, what it was like to be in bondage, what your life was like when that oppression had you held you hostage, and then what it was like to encounter him. Even the fear of going through something new. When you've walked in darkness and bondage for a while, freedom can be fearful because you know what you know. And when it's time to be free, and how many of you know with this upcoming retreat, it's time for you to be free. When it's time to be free, there's always a temptation to draw back because there's this knowing that you're going to have to do some things differently. But that's okay. It's a part of it. God will empower you, enlighten you, and equip you to do those things differently. And as you walk out that process, as you take one foot and put it in front of the other each day, Jesus admonishes the one who has been delivered to go and tell others the difference of encountering him and what that difference made in your life. Don't shy away from it. Don't be embarrassed. I'll share with you, ladies, one of my biggest pet peeves is that as human beings, we practice hiding from one another, not understanding, not understanding that more than anything, the only thing we can do is truly relate to one another because we're all human. So when you tell me your testimony and you talk about what God has delivered you from, I certainly can understand because I have my own measure of oppression and bondage and attacks and thoughts that are going on in my mind and behaviors that I need to change, that I know I need to overcome. So I need to hear what God has done for you so that I can be encouraged to believe he'll do the same for me. Or I may say, "Girl, let me tell you what he did for me." And then we both may have to go and share with others. So I just want to encourage you ladies today. Share your testimony. Write it down. Mark it. Know that God is with you. He promised he would never leave. I thrive off of the scripture in my life. He promised he would never leave nor forsake you. Take advantage of that. It's never over. There are always more for you than are against you. And the world is waiting to hear your testimony. All right, have a great day. God bless you, ladies.